I'm Judy Jetson Hooker. Oh, okay. I'm Judy Jetson Hooker. Hey guys, it's David here, and welcome to Hot Tuck Tapes, where I share my thoughts on RuPaul's Drag Race. Little disclaimer alert, I'm not a drag queen, nor an expert by any means on the world of drag. I'm simply a fan of the TV show, wanting to start a conversation with you other fans on the interwebs. Also, spoiler alert, but why y'all acting brand new? It was fair after Peppermint, for the record. So this week on Season 9, Episode 10, we had Crew Better Work. I wasn't disappointed by this episode, but I will say that its value as its own little entity was much higher than its service to this season overall as a component in the competition. We kind of knew what was coming with this episode in terms of the elimination and the winner-ish. But honestly, that's also due in large part to the editing and storytelling in this episode, so hopefully that'll make sense as I continue in this review. I was very excited about this idea. I thought it was great and unique. A lot of the time on these makeover challenges, it's kind of awkward because they have subjects that either like don't get drag or they just have this kind of formal vibe between the two and there isn't an immediate connection. And so it was great to get people who were in the crew. It was similar to using the Season 7 past queens coming back and making them over, or the family members from All-Stars Season 2. I love when the queens get to make somebody over who's already kind of comfortable. So the episode begins. The queens are in a state of utter shock after Valentina's elimination, as we were. But could you imagine like seeing that live in the competition? Not even the TV version. Like I bet they were shaken to the core. And also strangely giddy. I guess not so strangely because it is a competition. But Nina goes over to wipe off the mirror and they're like cheering Nina on for sending Valentina home. And I already started to feel uncomfortable because it's like, okay, I get it. They're, you know, happy that a really big threat in the competition is gone. But for Nina, as somebody who already is feeling sort of guilty and paranoid to be getting cheered on as the person who sent her home, it feels awkward, and I sympathize with her in this moment. I don't know if I would go so far as to say they were intentionally manipulating Nina to feel guilty for sending Valentina home, but it was a situation that totally raised red flags for me, and I didn't find it out of place at all that Nina felt weird. Sasha saying in her interview segment, "This is not group therapy," and then immediately cut to Sasha and Peppermint like discussing the mental well-being of Nina. I honestly think that a certain part of these queens enjoys the drama of like having a problem to fix in the group, because there's a lot of this group therapy thing that the group is perpetuating and that Nina isn't asking for. The queens are joined by Ru, who announces this week's challenge of making over the crew. We have Ru wearing a Star of David, which I don't know if Ru is religious and or Jewish or just wears it because he watches Full Metal Alchemist or something, but I was definitely feeling a connection because, you know, I do in fact, this is my namesake and I am a Jew. If any of y'all know anything about why Ru is wearing a Star of David, I would be curious to know. It caught my eye. Maybe it's just a fashion statement, like Madonna's Kabbalah bracelet. Just kidding, I know that she was like serious about it and a lot of pop stars love Kabbalah. Trends. The crew is introducing themselves. This is the part that was teased in the week leading up to the episode. And I will say, after having lived in LA a few summers ago, I clocked the PAs as the aspiring actors I know they are. And I will say that both of them auditioned for the role, and one of them might have had a chance at getting it. I did appreciate that Shay and Sasha made an effort to pair the right crew members with their corresponding queens. I think that was for the best of all of us viewers at home. It made much better TV to just see people who had potential to succeed and then evaluate how they did in fulfilling that potential. Because it would have been a real curveball for them to just throw people under the bus arbitrarily, and I don't think that would have been fair. Trinity is assigned who I would deem as the heartthrob among the crew members available, Rizzo, and I already knew that Trinity would do really well on the makeover challenge. Even early in the season, I was just thinking, wow, the makeover challenge is really going to be Trinity's game. She's very quick at sewing outfits, and she seems experienced in helping others. Well, of course, we've seen her help everybody get together in Untucked and on the show, so if she spent the whole season training by getting all those other queens together, you know that she can rock a makeover challenge. That said, I am sick of these editors really projecting, very obviously, who is going to be the winner and the loser of this week's challenge. I watched this episode with Foster, who you guys saw last week, and thank you for the lovely comments. I watched this episode with Foster, who you guys saw last week, and he made a very good point in that the editing and their projection of the winner and loser is a huge part of what makes the episodes feel so short. Even though they are technically shorter in minutes than they were on Logo, there's also editing that just kind of breaks it up in a way where you see where it's going and therefore it's not as much of a journey. If you haven't noticed this yet, this episode is a great example. We have a lot of screen time dedicated to Trinity doing very well in the workroom and having a lot of funny moments, which I definitely enjoyed, don't get me wrong. And there's of course a lot of time devoted to Nina struggling and almost saying goodbye to Nina throughout the episode. This is a theme that we saw a lot in last week's episode, where Valentina was given a lot of time to have closure with the fans and the other queens before the runway even happened. It is frustrating for me to tune into the show and commit myself to an hour of watching only to have the winner and loser basically spoiled within the first 5 or 10 minutes. That said, we did get a lot of great moments of Trinity in the workroom. They gave her a lot of moments for funny interview quotes. She was shading Shay's partner, saying, "Have you ever seen a dog walk in snow?" It's like that. I cackled at that one. And of course we have the whole tucking montage moment, which, you know, you could have projected that from a mile away. Trinity, the tuck, Taylor. They were gonna make a moment out of it, but I love the montage that's coming up. The moments where Ru came into the workroom to check on the pairs were especially endearing this week. It was encouraging to see how well Ru seemed to know and connect with each member of the crew. Alexis is Bradley. It was great to hear him talk about how the show has taught him about drag. Although I will say the term fish is not anything new to this season. He was like, "I learned a new thing this season, a fishy queen." It's like, where have you been, girl? I'm glad they chose a nice variety of crew members in terms of their age and life experience. Sasha's partner, Duncan, talked about his son a little bit, and it was great to see a supportive father talking about his gay son, presumably gay. I don't know if he said that his son was gay, but he mentioned the son being a fan of the show, and whatever the case may be, the relationships between sons and fathers when it comes to being gay or being part of the LGBT community is one that's not as explored in a positive light. So it was nice to see a positive depiction of that in this week's episode. And once Ru got to Peppermint's partner, Sarge, who has some big moments coming up, which we will definitely address, when he mentioned that he's been on the show for 4 years now, and Duncan just said he had been on the show for like 6, I think, it's nice to see a crew that is loyal to the show and has grown with it and grown with Ru. So I just, you know, that made my heart happy. And this all feeds into what I mentioned earlier. I think this is a great place to discuss that I wanted just more of these moments. There are a few more fun moments coming up, but I wish that they had gone about editing this episode, embracing the unique challenge and the relationships between the crew and the queens a little bit more, or provided some more bonus content. I realize that there are time constraints and they have a story to tell, but we knew where this week was going regarding the competition. We just had last week a very controversial elimination. It was a lot of focus on where's the competition headed now, and I wish that they had taken this week to really lean into the silliness, lean into the personal aspects, and showcase a little bit more of who these guys are and their relationship with the queens in the show. If they had showcased that in bonus content, I would be more satisfied. In fact, when I was leaving the episode, I thought, oh, I can't wait to see the bonus videos that Logo puts out. But those seem to have been dwindling down week by week. And as of my time in filming this video, I don't think that there are any bonus videos up of like moments in the workroom or rehearsals for their dance piece that came out of nowhere because we did not see them preparing for it at all. And so with that said, we get right back into telegraphing this week's losing queen. Nina is struggling to sew 2 garments out of nothing for the first time, which was, why? I get that she was really trying to avoid Michelle's eminent criticism of the same silhouette, but just a waste of time. I like that Shay was helping her. I mean, if I were Shay, I would have sat back and just been like, do whatever, like, I cannot help you, this is dumb. That's what I would have done. I would have just said, stop. This is not gonna happen. I'm not gonna even enable you to pursue this any longer. It's just a waste of time. Because that's what she ended up doing. She just gave up. But of course, Shea Couleé's playing the game. She's shown herself as a sympathetic hero. I honestly think that it would be boring if she won at this point. It just seems so obvious, but whatever. Now, we did get a lot of playful workroom process-oriented bits, more than usual, in fact. So my note about the bonus clips was just that it left me wanting even more, but I was grateful that we got to see them having a fun time. Sarge's moment getting strapped into the corset by Peppermint gave me flashbacks to Ginger Minge on All Stars. I don't know if any of you guys watch, I think it's called the Remake or Recap, one of those, but there's this edit of All Stars 2. I think it's Lee Dawson. I know Lee Dawson is doing edits of this season. I think he also did the All Stars 2 ones. But there's a moment that he zooms in on Ginger Minge, like strapping into a corset, and it just says like BDSM or something like that. So this moment gave me flashbacks to that edit. Listen, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend the Remake, Recap, whatever, All Stars 2. It's very funny. So shout out to Lee Dawson. You don't know who I am, but props. I loved watching Sasha and Duncan work together. I kind of ship them. Dasha velour. A dash of velour. Not a lot of velour, but just a dash of velour. I also liked Sasha's nice, like, flowy black H&M non-binary outfit. It was very, you know, nice. It definitely wasn't H&M. I bet y'all are gonna come for me for saying it was it. But like, H&M is selling stuff like that now. That's my only reference. This shirt's from Target. I'm not a fashionista. Rizzo, in his personal moment, was giving me solid millennial Tumblr 101 explanation of the gender binary, which was important, but more endearing than it was informative. The exchange between Aaron and Nina was very nice. I'm glad that they at least gave screen time to somebody sympathizing with Nina in the right way, I would say. Aaron talked about his own experience with depression and brought himself to the conversation. I think that this made more impact than any of the queens have on Nina, and it's simply because he made himself vulnerable in the conversation rather than coming from a place of superiority. I think a lot of the queens were nearly scolding Nina for the way that she was behaving and feeling, and I think Aaron just like did a naturally great job at consoling Nina. Look at me, now I'm the one who's like psychoanalyzing the situation. But I think we can all learn from this. Like, if you've got a friend like Nina who's struggling, don't like scold them for it and like act like it's their fault and something they can just switch off. I almost wish that they had leaned into this more just to show viewers like something as simple as turning off negativity and putting a smile on your face. It's not always that simple. So then we get into the tucking medley montage mirage of sorts. I love her screaming over the barrier, "You've got to pull it back there or I'm gonna come and pull it back for you." She's just so like, does not care. She mentioned in Untucked later that once it got time to get down to business, she wasn't about being like dreamy or awkward about being attracted to Rizzo. She was just like, I've got a job to get done and I'm gonna do it. The way that the editors went about telling the story was top notch. The zoom in on the duct tape, just leading in, we all know what's coming. We've got Peppermint making the duct tape sounds that are like overlaid with silly music. Everything's cut together nice and quickly. So, you know, another solid moment of editing, good energy leading into the final runway, and we have Ru strutting down stage in one of my favorite Ru looks from this season. I know there were mixed opinions out there, but I personally loved this Japanese print moment, designed by Zaldi. I'm pretty sure that was implied on the show. Yes, it's certain. Zaldi designed this. I do think it would be funny if Zaldi like pulled a fast one on Ru and on the gown it just said like a bunch of profanities or something in Japanese, because like, how's Ru gonna know? If any of you guys read Japanese, can you confirm or deny if Zaldi was correct in his translation of the gown? All right, so let's get into their runway looks. Trinity did well on this challenge, but I was not in love with the looks. The tuck was solid. It better be if the episode focused that much time on getting it together. But I think that the judges kind of copped out focusing so much on just that element of the outfit, because a great tuck, a great outfit does not make. I think that in general, these outfits were rather basic. We're starting to see a lot of the same from Trinity with the swimsuits and the big hair, almost at the point of being as repetitive as Miss Shea Coulee with the swimsuit and the jacket, who, by the way, in her runway look, was not wearing a bathing suit with a jacket. There was a full gown on Shea Coulee that she made herself, and I do not want to gloss over that. The episode kind of glossed over it, but Shea made that gown herself, and it was really nice. She looked great. It was just that her partner was a mess. I kind of saw this coming, but at the same time, they really didn't focus that much on her partner being problematic. I think they wanted to lean into this possibly being Shay's fault, giving viewers less reason to just blame it on the partner so that they could put Shay in the bottom two, so that she could send Nina home. And they wanted a lip sync between her and Nina to conclude that whole, you know, rivalry, frenemyship, sisterhood. Alexis's look, I wrote in my notes, was actually passable. I agreed with Michelle. Although it was basic, I got flashbacks to Judy Jetts and Hooka. At least it was like clean and they looked related. A lot of people were also commenting that this was very similar to Alexis's entrance look, although it was not exactly the same. But I don't know. I mean, it was safe. It was boring. It was something that shouldn't be on stage this late in the competition. Nina's look was expectedly disappointing and not very cohesive. I very much agreed with Ross. I've been digging his commentary a lot, week by week, in this season especially, that if she just added like, you know, little bunny tail, little like, you know, white kind of shoes or paws or something, could have made the outfit more cohesive. Do I think it would have saved Nina from the bottom two? No. Sasha knocked this look out of the park, in my opinion. I thought that the two of them looked very cohesive, and her makeup job, especially on Duncan, was exceptional. I assume that it was like the dance entertainment section that really won it for Trinity because she had more involved choreography, but because the episode didn't really show much of that, either in the process or in the performance, I just didn't go on that journey with the show. So I think that Sasha was robbed for this. I think that this was her time once again to win. There have been a few challenges back in the season where Sasha has continually gotten wins snatched away. But this is something that a lot of people in the fan base agree with. And I think that people are recognizing Sasha for the talent she has, even if the actual competition on the show has not been. And then we get to Peppermint and the actual winner of this challenge, Wintergreen. I am hoping that this is a Nebraska Thunderfuck moment, a non-Fire Island version. And listen, I didn't care that their outfits clashed either, Ross Matthews. I agree. I thought that it was very entertaining. It kind of like added to the comedy that they clashed. The moment during the judges' feedback where RuPaul called Wintergreen gorgeous, and he just says, I know. I'm just like, born for it. It was great to see a cameraman who is so charismatic. I think that that's really how it works in entertainment. You know, people think that just the talent needs to be charismatic, but every person working on set has to have a personality you love seeing every day. And I'm glad that this was the first thing that the queens addressed in Untucked, so we're just gonna get into that for a moment. They all acknowledged that Wintergreen was essentially the winner of Miss Congeniality. Geniality? You trying to fight me, bitch? Alexis joins into the conversation, seemingly just to be part of the group discussion, and immediately pivots into self-acknowledging her own hard work for the challenge. Once again, we have an Alexis villain moment in the Untucked. If you give her the benefit of the doubt, this moment easily could have been cued by questions from the other queens about how did you think you did, or it could have been from a different part of the group conversation and then pasted in at this moment, and it just transitioned really well through the power of editing. She is this season's villain. Once Eureka left, they had no hope of painting her as the villain. Every season needs a villain. There needs to be a queen that gets the audience fired up and angry. Why hasn't she gone home yet? Yada, yada. So, you know, I'm not trying to rag on Alexis, the drag queen. I was rooting for her before the season. I loved her little Into the Woods moment. Foster showed me that last night after I watched the episode. If you haven't watched it, she does like the witch's transformation, and it's this awesome reveal. This was before Drag Race, I guess a few years ago. But I do have an issue with Alexis, the character, as represented on RuPaul's Drag Race. She's a villain for a reason. Other great moments, I loved Trinity hitting on the cameraman, like after discounting Rizzo as an option, because, you know, now they have a professional relationship and that demystified Rizzo as an option. She's just like, how about you, cameraman? You want some of these? And I just cannot. This whole Untucked, I am loving Trinity more and more. Sasha and Shay confirmed my thoughts that they did in fact try to pair queens up with the most potentially successful partners. This did spur an especially awkward moment where Shay is talking about Nina, but Nina, like Nina Bunny Fufu, is laying luxuriating behind Shay while she's talking about her. And then, of course, we have Nina alert the queens that she thinks she's going home this week, and that she's debating not lip syncing at all and just giving up on the runway. At this point, you see how the queens have kind of like separated into groups regarding how they feel about Nina's complaints. You've got Sasha and Peppermint just like over it. Nearly the second Nina says that she might give up on lip sync, Peppermint just goes, okay. Like, she's had it. I was shocked by how Shea so unabashedly addressed this moment from a place of like, if you just give up, it'll make my beating you look worse. It was like she was trying to sound inspirational, but if you really listen to what she was saying, it felt almost like an Alexis moment of like, listen, if you don't try, it'll make me look bad. And then you've got Trinity swooping in to save the day saying, and you may stay. And Shea has nothing to say to that. Trinity's whole approach to this was a class act. She just said, you know, suck it up, be a man, be a woman, do your job as an entertainer. Nina says, oh, but what if Shea deserves this more than I do? And Trinity's simple response, if she deserves it, then she will slay you and stay. I've got to say, this is the moment where I accepted I am rooting for Trinity to take the crown. She has won my heart, and it's been a slow effort. It's not like it happened overnight, but this was definitely the cherry on top moment where I said, Trinity, you are who I am rooting for. So anyway, Peppermint laments a little bit about how she's over Nina complaining, and that's always what the Untucks are about, even though the Untucks are also kind of always about Alexis complaining. Whatever, the crew comes in, they interrupt everything, thank God, and we get a little bit more of a personal exchange between the crew and the queens, which was, again, my favorite element of this challenge. Of course, in the middle of them all laughing together and having a moment, we get another black and white arts school transition with shots of the Hamburger Mary sign. They had one with music right before this one, like 5 or 10 minutes before. They have a transition that has a black and white shots, but there's like a little bit of music under it. And now, you know, once again, we have thud, dead air in the middle. I don't know why they do these. You guys have commented about them. They annoy me just as much. I liked hearing once again the crew's commitment to the show, that if this show paid less, they would still choose it over something that paid more just because they love contributing to the art form so much. Trinity mentioned in passing that she has a day job in addition to drag, which just makes me love her more. We get Sasha shading her just like, oh, well, that's just to pay for the other cheek, which we've been getting more moments of Sasha shade. I'm liking it. I do wish one of the queens would mention how big of a pay raise they're all going to get at this point from the show, because they were all just saying, you know, woe is me, drag is so expensive, and I am broke, have been broke, and will be broke, basically. And I wish one of them had just been like, but not after this show, because we're all gonna get a big pay raise. I mean, they're all in the top 6, so at this point, they're gonna be doing fine. It is lip sync time. Cool for the Summer by Demi Lovato is still getting promo. It's like the promo that never ends. It couldn't have been a Kesha song because of all of the lawsuit drama, so I guess, yeah, Cool for the Summer it is. This was a pretty lackluster lip sync, but from the first moments watching Nina, it was pretty clear that she wasn't gonna try super, super hard. And I don't think that this was the same case as Valentina or Charlie, because Nina had already really given it her all for 2 lip syncs. And for somebody who was debating giving up altogether, like those other 2 queens kind of did, I thought that it was, you know, a valiant effort that she at least stuck to it and gave as much as she could. But yeah, it was clear that she wasn't giving the same kind of energy, and Shea was not going to have to put up that much of a fight, and she kind of didn't. I know that she was wearing the big gown, but coming off of earlier this season when Trinity was up against Charlie, who literally gave up and didn't do anything, and then you've got Trinity, you know, going above and beyond, giving a ridiculous, amazing lip sync just to showcase her performing capabilities. I kind of wanted Shea to do the same thing. I don't know if you've got to tear off the skirt or whatever, but I have seen Shea Coulee perform and tear the house down, and I wanted to see that in a lip sync on this show. I don't think she did poorly. Like, she was still giving, you know, good charisma and facial expression and commitment. And I'm not saying that I want a death drop and stunts and all kinds of stuff either. I know that the camera kind of expected it, swooping down at one moment where they obviously thought that one of the queens was going to get on the ground. Neither of them did. But I just, you know, it felt like Shea knew she was going to win and didn't really go above and beyond to show how amazing she is as a performer. The crew was like unabashedly on Team Shea completely while watching the lip sync. They were like giving Nina's partner a pep talk saying, you know, she was lucky to have you. It was all her fault. They were really, I mean, they didn't say that exactly, but it seemed that they were basically being pretty hard on Nina and very sympathetic towards Shea. Shea's partner said, you know, I got her here, which is probably true. I do appreciate that Nina's partner was so emotionally invested, and the moment like crying afterwards and tearing up, that was endearing to see. So as we know, Nina was asked to sashay away this week, and I felt like Ru gave her one of the most heartfelt send-offs, especially following last week's "You could have been the best. We were all rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. Bye." It was nice, like when she said Nina, Bonina Brown, Andres Charles, which if you didn't know, that's RuPaul's middle and last name. And she said, "You are part of this family." I feel like that's, that was just a really classy way to go about it. I felt like Ru had a genuine connection with Nina and really believed in her talent, which is fair because Nina is a very unique queen, one of the most unique talents that has been on the show. So I appreciated that Ru did as much as Ru could to give her a warm send-off and let her know that even if she maybe disappointed herself in this moment or this week, that she's a Ru girl, she made it this far, and she's part of the RuPaul family. Nina heading back to pack up her belongings, I almost expected that she would already be all packed up, like circa Jasmine Masters, but no, her station is a mess, and I love her like lament moment to the breastplate, although I will never get used to how they like blur out the nipples on a breastplate. Why? The other queens did leave her some letters at her station, but she didn't read them, or if she did read them, then they cut that part out, maybe because she like said negative stuff about them, not about the queens, but like doubted that what they said was genuine or was suspicious, or I don't know. Honestly, it could have just been more self-serving like pep talks from a place of importance. So maybe it's for the best that we didn't hear their letters. As I'm sad to see Nina go, I do think that it was her time, at least on this season with this group and this kind of mentality at this far in the competition. She did get to top 6. That is a very respectable placement in this competition. Watching Whatcha Packin' with Michelle in that interview, it's still kind of unclear to me whether she can put a finger on what went wrong. She just kind of generally said that after the Black China moment where she didn't get the part she wanted, she started to inject a lot of suspicion of the other queens and paranoia. Michelle gave her the blanket, believe in yourself advice, you have what it takes kind of thing. But from my point of view, that doesn't necessarily seem to be the issue. As far as I could see, it very well could be the exact opposite. Not to get deep, but to quote Marianne Williamson, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure." It seemed to me that deep down, Nina knows how unique and special her art is, and it had more to do with a fear of sabotage from the other queens than anything inside of herself. But then again, that could come from a place of self-doubt and not wanting to trust herself to go all the way, so then using that as an excuse. It's complicated. These are not issues that are lightly wrapped up with a nice little bow on reality TV. Whatever the case may be, she was a really unique queen. I do think that there's a chance that she could really excel on an All-Star season. Probably not All-Stars 3, maybe All-Stars 4. I would love to see her come back and just like kill it, and maybe be given a little bit more time to paint her full body. Maybe she'll come on like an episode of Skin Wars or something, some sort of like RuPaul brand integration thing. I will miss her, is all I'm saying. She was one of my front runners going in. You guys who have been watching my videos knew that. I mentioned it early on, and you know, I'm left with several questions. Why did she poke the breastplate on the floor with her boot walking out? Why was her catchphrase at the end, "Sue me"? That I'm really confused about. Do you guys know the origin of that? Sue me. What was that? Was that like a reference to something? I don't know. Anyway, that about does it for this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. We've only got like a few episodes of Drag Race left. What do you guys think that I should review after Drag Race Season 9 is over? Is there any kind of like series on TV or even on YouTube that you would like me to review on a regular basis? Because I've really gotten a kick out of just touching into this fan base every week and being able to express my opinions, hear yours. It's always nice to have a discussion with a really engaged group of like-minded folks. So please let me know if you have any suggestions in the comments below. And as always, let me know your thoughts on the episode, the review, if you agreed or disagreed with anything I had to say. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe so that you make sure that you don't miss out on any of my new videos. And other than that, I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Okay, bye. Now everybody seems to be just fine, circling a line, but I just want somebody to call mine, a little romantic with candles on the side, hearing you giggle, heavily breathe down your spine. Now I've gone through the chapters. La la la. Okay, my ass hurts. Oh my god, so much sitting.